One of the tenets of the Dharmic philosophies is the theory of Samsara, the cycle of birth and death. If the cycle of birth, death, and reincarnation is real, why don't people remember their past lives? There are multiple levels at which we can answer this question. If we remembered our past lives, we would be ridden with guilt at all the mistakes made, drowned in sorrow at all the loves that were lost, and filled with hatred at those who were the wielders of our karmic instruments. So obviously, being born with the memory is a bad idea. And we can see that even in this life, most people are burdened by memories of bad experiences. Most of us try hard to shut out the bad memories. So we are born with all the learnings that we gain through the various lives, but not the actual memories. Let's explore this point a bit more from a philosophical and a scientific angle. Students learn from books and teachers, but when it comes to writing an exam, they take the condensed learnings, but not the actual books and teachers with them. Rote learning does not take you very far if you do not know how to apply the learning practically to solve a problem. For those of you who follow advances in artificial intelligence, you would have heard of the term a neural network. In AI, a neural network is used to recognize patterns in a set of data. A neural network is said to work through a process that mimics the way the human brain operates. It is in fact the first step towards trying to make a computer do what a human brain can do. For instance, you can train a neural network on a set of images containing faces, teaching it how to detect human faces. A well-trained neural network learns how to detect faces, and when you show it a test image, it can tell you whether the image contains a face or not. If you show it an image containing a car, for instance, it would reject it, saying that it's not a face. The data that is used to train the neural network is called the training data, where you show it examples of faces and explicitly tell the neural network that it is indeed a human face. You tell the neural network how to interpret the data during the training phase. Then the neural network could be tested by showing it data unseen before by the neural network, which is called the test data. A neural network was regarded as the first step towards creating an artificial intelligence. A neural network is composed of a bunch of nodes, artificial neurons called perceptrons, associated with each other. These nodes are often arranged in layers, and each node is connected to several nodes in the layer below it, from which it gets its data. Each of the incoming connection has a number called the weight. This weight is used along with the input to calculate a result, and depending on this result, the neuron decides whether and to what extent it needs to fire. Typically, if the data is more than a certain threshold, the node fires and passes its data onto the next layer. The training data is presented to the neural network, and based on its response, the weights are updated. Now, the neural network needs to be penalized in case of any errors it makes, and its weights updated accordingly. This penalty is not drastic. It just nudges the network in the right direction, which is the direction to minimize its errors. By working on many training sets, seeing many different types of data, the neural network learns the optimal weights that it needs to perform well on data that it has not seen. Now, this is a very rough description of how neural networks work, but you can see some parallels, some analogies between a neural network and this theory of transmigration. The neural network needs a lot of data for training before it reaches a degree of perfection. Training it on too lesser data leads to bad performance. The most important point, when training the neural network, if we do not use data to validate its accuracy, or just keep perfecting it so that it performs 100% on the training data, we get a neural network that fits itself excellently to the training data but performs very poorly on the test data. This problem is called overfitting. For the face detection problem, the neural network would detect those faces in the training set with astonishing accuracy but perform very poorly on any test data which contained a face not seen by the network before. That's not what we want either, because such an intelligence is useless for real-world applications. Finally, and to restate the obvious, the neural network does not remember the actual data that it was given. The training gives it the ability to learn relevant weights to perform better, given similar stimuli, similar inputs. Even when we try to mimic a tiny aspect of the brain's abilities via a neural network, we need to be careful not to get the network too attached to the training data. Similarly, according to Dharmic scriptures, the experiences gained over different cycles of birth and death train us. Even though we might not remember the actual events, lest we continue to be attached to them and paralyzed by them, they do dictate our reaction to physical and mental stimuli. Karma is similar to the law of physics, the law of action and its reaction. And of course, one could, with practice, in brief moments of introspection and realization, understand what these past lives were and how they contribute to the present condition. But eventually, when one moves towards realizing the self and understands the true nature of the Absolute, one has no need for these weights. Ancient Dharmic scriptures such as the Garbha Upanishad and the Bhagavata Purana state that when an unborn baby reaches the 9th month in the womb, it gets to remember the past lives in great detail. It laments, "Born and dead again and again, I am immersed in grief, but see no remedy. Thinking of my good and bad deeds, I am suffering alone, although the bodies that enjoyed the fruits are gone." After these lamentations, it decides that once born, it would spend time in the contemplation of the Brahman, the eternal Absolute, discarding the material. But when the baby reaches the birth canal, it is touched by Maya, the illusion, the projecting attribute of the infinite, and forgets the previous births and the deeds done during those births. So the self comes into this world crying, carrying the scars of all its experiences, but none of the actual memory. Hidden deep within us are answers for our reactions, our inclinations, our likes, our fears, and overall for the state of our present condition. The whole aim of this world experience that the Atman, the Self, which is part of the infinite Brahman, goes through is to learn and progress towards liberation. We do not want to have feelings of guilt, hatred, attachments, and many other maladies that would afflict progression. If we want to go one level deeper, we need to remember that all of this world experience is the infinite consciousness, the sentient Brahman, manifesting experience after experience, and in many cases, those experiences are better started with a clean slate. It is the knowledge, the jnana, that leads one to higher states and onwards towards liberation. As always, the known is a drop and the unknown is an ocean. Peace.